Welcome to the Armory. Hey!
Brothers, welcome to the Armory Podcast. My co-host Dane Robertson. Brother, how you doing, man?
Doing well, sir.
And you're looking good, healthy and vibrant as always. And
Yes,
we promised
trying to keep up with you.
Oh, geez. I enjoy it. I'm really enjoying the healthy lifestyle, and so it's been good. Thank you for the kind remarks. And of course, my wife doing the same thing. Everybody always thinks both of us are about 10 years younger than we are, which is a good thing. We'll keep it that way.
Always a good thing. Yeah, exactly.
Always.
Forever.
Forever. So we promised last week we'd pick up on this idea I heard, and I just want to float it by you and see what you think before we dive in to it. And it comes from this idea of unconditional love, this term. And we have this need that comes from childhood, I would say, where a child has to have unconditional love. Especially as an infant, what can the child do? Right?
Right.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Mhm.
It can roll over, burp, fart, and whatever.
Mhm.
And so it requires that. And like Dr. Glover will say, the needs of the child, has to do with he has to feel like his needs are important to the adults around
Mhm.
him, that his needs will be met, that he is in a warm, loving environment. And if he's provided with the right conditions for that, then whatever that world is, he reflects onto the world around him. So then he says, the world is like my family, and that can be good or bad.
Mhm.
Sometimes if they have a hard family upbringing, and there's different definitions. Some are hard because they're abusive. Some are hard just because they, went through the depression, or here in Ukraine, they went
Mhm.
through the crisis in 2019 1991, when they were just left out on their own, and they had starvation here just that recently,
Mhm.
or the war, or things like this, where you grow up in an environment where you start to feel like, the world is a hostile place. And so the first part of that, and before we even go anywhere else, I want to camp on this for a minute, is this quote from Albert Einstein, where he says, the most important decision you'll ever make is whether you believe the universe is a friendly or hostile place.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that quote?
Well, so I think that quote is an interesting. I think it is a valid statement that that you do need to figure out. What it comes down to me is there's some people that have an attitude to where they believe that, especially for Christians, we believe in God. And if we believe in God, and in my particular case, I believe that God is always for me, even though he's a
Mm-hmm.
parent, and sometimes he allows certain things to correct me, and, he's going to try to guide me. Now, as far as the world itself, I tend to believe that the world itself, I guess I don't really see it so much as good or bad. I see it more as, it is the situation it's in, but then to me, God protects me in that in that environment. In that environment, there's negative things, there's bad things that happen. So in my mind, I tend to rest in his protection, but understand that I have to deal with bad things. Even
Mm-hmm.
Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble. I mean, outlining it just on that basis, right? So, I do believe that people kind of come down to whether or not I've talked to people, I know you have, that have seen that basically they will say, oh, everything's doom, everything's gloom, everybody's out to get them, everything is trying to, and that is true. Like you said, when you went to the Amazon, everything in the Amazon is trying to eat you, and that's true. So, you can,
That's
that's a
true.
fact, right?
That's a
You
fact.
know,
That is just a fact.
so, so I do think that there is a certain mentality for some people that the world is totally against them, and they can't win at anything. And then there's a personal belief for some people that though the world may be against them, that they will get through this, that they have a positive attitude. Even one of the greatest cases of that I see is like in the Philippines, where there's this rampant poverty in a lot of places, but they're happy people. Like you talk to them and they're like, and if they don't have that much food, they'll still invite relatives over, friends over, and try to share. It's just the environment they grew up in. So,
Mhm.
you have us that are more Westerners that think that certain things is the end of the world. You have them in some cases where they have much less, and that's across the world. It's not just in the Philippines, where people have much less and they still feel that, they're blessed to have what they have.
Yeah. Okay, well, you covered a lot of ground there. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Well, first of all, I think it's
And
an
I'm done.
overarching, and no, you're not done. You're coming back to you. So, it's an overarching concept. Let's say that um, out of your childhood, for whatever reason, you came out a generally positive, optimistic person, or a realist. Is what I
Hmm.
call pessimist. A
Hmm.
realist.
Hmm.
And realism is just it's sad because what they're saying is I expect bad things to happen because that's just the truth.
Because that's
So
just the way of the world. Yeah.
that's the way of the world. The world's a harsh place. I'm not going to
Hmm.
lie and try to pretend it's good. It's mean, it's ugly, and it's going to eat you. And so I'm a realist where I expect bad things to happen. Now, there's a part of, like you said, if you want to go back to scripture, he says, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, what's of good reputation, let your mind dwell on these things. So the
Let your
scripture
mind
even
dwell on
says,
that.
let your
That's
mind
right.
dwell on positive things.
Yeah.
And
You
what's
have to
really
take your thoughts
fascinating,
captive. You have to take your
that's right.
thoughts captive. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, don't let your thoughts run away with you. Taken captive. Say,
That's exactly.
does
Exactly.
this thought serve me? I guess is the
Hmm.
better question, right?
Right.
Does this thought serve
Absolutely.
me? And
Yeah.
does this perspective serve me? Does it give me a happy life? Because
Hmm.
your your brain is not engineered to give you a happy life. It's engineered to help you survive. It's our
Protect
effort,
you.
our job
Hmm.
to do what it takes to create happiness.
That's
So
right.
your brain is like a pain avoidance survival mechanism thing, and that's its
Right.
entire job. So if you're on nothing
Hmm.
else, you're going to avoid everything to the
Hmm.
extreme. There's that
Hmm.
proverb that says the lazy man has said, "I can't go outside. There might be a lion." It's
Exactly.
well, yeah, and there might be a unicorn with leprechauns dancing around it too, but I mean it's like
Yeah.
so, but you decide you end up the moral of that story is I can't go outside because there might be a lion there, is you can freeze yourself into inaction and into a life of doing nothing, being nothing, enjoying nothing
Right.
by just a matter of perspective that you put on yourself. And,
Absolutely.
and so here's the thing. It's like whether, I can't out argue anyone who wants to be a realist. They're just, they decided
Right.
that's their belief
They're
system
always
and
going to
they
come
will,
with a negative slant, right? For
well, but
whatever you say.
they will align their universe to support the belief system because, the
Right.
brain will defend a belief to the end. It's like, it's almost life or death. It has to defend its beliefs.
Right.
And so the only thing I would say to somebody who, I would look at that way and say that they tend to be more pessimistic or their realism doesn't give them joy or peace or
Right.
calm per
Right.
se,
Right.
is just say, is that the outcome you want? Do you want to live in a place of constant fear, of no
Hmm.
joy, of scarcity, of everyone's out to get me? How is,
Hmm.
as Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you? And so if you don't, then what's the alternative? It's to believe that, you know, with good effort, the universe will meet you halfway. That
Hmm.
there, as my dad used to say, the um, uh, go dare boldly. and unseen
Mhm.
forces will come to your aid. And so
Mhm.
it's faith. It's faith. Well, I don't see these
Mhm.
unseen forces. It's like, well, they don't come till you're in action. You have to be in action. And this, whereas
Right.
men, we're called to be in action. We're called to do hard things. And that does require faith.
Mhm.
And if you think this is a woo woo thing or a positive mental thing, Steve Jobs, who's probably one of the harshest people I heard to work with or work for, used to say, most of the time we just have to go and start on a project believing that as we go, the dots will connect along the way. And he says, and
Mhm.
sometimes we're venturing out to create a product that we have in our mind that the technology doesn't even exist yet. But
Mhm.
we have to
Mhm.
believe that by the time we get there, it will or we will make it. And that's faith. So faith isn't
Mhm.
isn't just a thing about religion and God, where obviously the scripture says without
No,
faith
absolutely. Faith
you
is,
can't please
yeah,
God.
right.
Right. So then what's faith in? It's faith is in the positive hope in things you can't see yet.
Yeah. We
And
do
and
it every
so
day. We do it every day.
yeah.
Think about it. If you get into a car, you turn
Mhm.
unless your car's a hoopty, right? You get into your car, you turn it on, you assume by faith that it's going to start, that the
Mhm.
tires are not going to blow out, that the car is not going to leave you stranded.
Mhm.
We do a lot of things by faith because we believe that there's a good outcome. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, John Maxwell uses the car analogy too. He says, by faith, you go to the gas station, put the pump in there to put gasoline in, trusting that when you pull the trigger, it's not buttermilk. You don't know.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
don't
how do
know.
you know? You have faith.
Could be
You
water.
just, you just have to have faith.
Yeah.
Um, and so there's a lot of things. So it's like, okay, if you have to have faith in life anyway, I had to have faith to sit in this, put my weight in this chair that it's not going to crash to the floor.
Hmm.
So if you have to have faith anyway, how can that serve you? And so the aspect of that is, well, if you know that everything in you is going to fight to align itself with your beliefs, what can I believe that would give me a great life?
Hmm.
What can I
Absolutely.
believe that would give me a great life?
Hmm.
And and so when we start with this parenting thing where you grow up and you come up with a household that because of your upbringing was harsh or scary, or you weren't presented that your needs were enough, or worse, your needs were an inconvenience. You almost felt bad
Hmm.
for having needs because it made your mother had to cook for you after coming up from work. And she rolls her eyes. Oh my gosh, you're hungry again, and all of a sudden your needs are not only not important, they're an actual inconvenience. And so you shrink away. So all these psychological things from your childhood frame your worldview that says this is how my family is, and the world is just like my family. You create an
Hmm.
expectation. I'm an inconvenience to people. What I need is not important. Um, and all kinds of things go into that. So at some point as an adult, because we didn't grow up in the Garden of Eden in perfection, at some point as an adult, we stop and we go, okay, this is what was programmed into me. Is it serving me? Is it
Hmm.
serving me? And one, it's like I'm not an infant. And so I do have to care for myself. And maybe I have to reparent myself
Hmm.
and realize, like Dr. Jordan Peterson said in one of the chapters in his book, treat yourself like you're someone worth caring for. Right.
Hmm.
And so what if you were caring for this person, what would you do for them? This is somebody I care for. What would you do for them? What would you do? Then what would you do for yourself? So you have to reframe it and almost take that third party objectives perspective, looking down on yourself and you go, I need to take care of you better, Mark. And
Hmm.
and and let's make these decisions now because you'll
Hmm.
like where it ends up. So that's where I think though it comes down to this thing I wanted to talk about this concept that came to me on this unconditional love. Because one of the problems is we develop this worldview that comes from a place of lack, comes from a place of um, human parenting that's not perfect. And so you're going to come up with feeling one of those things: fear of abandonment, fear of I'm not important, I'm an inconvenience in the world. Um, fear of conflicts, all the nice guy things that come up, a belief that the world is hostile, it's out to get you.
Mhm.
But what we don't do is, instead of putting those aside, having this conversation, most guys never have this conversation. So what they're
Right.
trying to do is pacify all of those inner fears and pains.
Mhm.
And one of the ways they do is in the relationship they have to the women they choose in their life.
Mm. Mhm.
And so what they're trying to do is get what they couldn't get from their mother,
Mhm.
true unconditional love. And now they're
Mhm.
trying to get it from this person.
Mhm.
And so we've made that into a culturally okay thing in our society, that everybody says, I just want unconditional love. It's like, yeah, but if you turn out to be a serial killer, she's probably got a good right to go somewhere else. I mean, and there are certain expectations that come into the masculine. Everything that we do, inherently, we know this. Um, and it's even the stupidity on the Titanic, in my opinion, that women and children come first.
Mhm.
you know and so it's like, all the brilliant minds and inventors, we just let them drown, but we save the women and children. Yeah, I don't know that there's just, but it's inherently built into us that there's a part of the masculine that protects, provides, defends, and even
Defends, yeah.
self-sacrifices.
Yeah.
And this isn't just into the genome of the human experience. This is the way the animal kingdom works, right? you
Mhm.
have you have one group that goes, the bees go out and collect everything to protect and feed the queen, or
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
um, the male lion, who's the alpha, has to protect the herd, I mean, and the pride of lions from any attacks. And it's so funny because you see some of those that are the alpha lion, and they're just beat to shit. They got scars, they're torn up everywhere, but that's their job. So the sad part is, in many ways, we become also the disposable gender. You
Yes.
know, the bees
The
die
sacri
off,
the
the ants die
sacrificial.
off. Yeah, and the men go to
Yeah.
war, they die off. The men die
Yeah. Yeah.
younger from burning themselves out. The men
Yeah.
do the work. But the irony is that if you don't feel fulfilled. If you're not willing to do the work to provide for your family, to be the one to say, my everyone's taken care of because of me. Everyone feels
Yeah.
safe because of me. And I give direction to where we want to go. And if I die younger, that's just the way it is, because I'm here to make this pride, this family unit, to grow and thrive. Um,
Or the opposite. They check out. They
mm,
don't try to take, they don't take
mhm,
responsibility. Everything is a
right.
me kind of thing. I remember listening to some of the ladies on when you had Dream Connection before,
Yeah.
and they would talk about, there was always the question of, well, why would you pick a Westerner versus,
Hmm.
Ukrainian? They were saying that they're amazing Ukrainian men, but
Right.
to some of them, they feel like that some of them maybe have checked out because of the pressures of the environment that they're in, and then the ladies end up having to kind of run the house and take care of everything,
Hmm. I'll agree with you on that. I think there's this popular, I don't know how popular it is anymore. For a while, it was certainly highly rampant. Probably 10 years ago, is this MGTOW movement.
Oh yeah,
MGTOW
yeah,
standing for
yeah,
men going their own way, right?
yeah, yeah.
And this MGTOW movement was basically guys who says, I'm done with women. But there's a part of them too that were sort of countercultural. I'm done with
Mhm.
societies. I'm done with governments. I'm done with paying taxes. I want to live in a cabin in the woods, and I'll hunt and catch my own food or whatever. But a minimum, those were the
Mhm.
extreme MGTOW guys. But at a minimum, they were like done with women. And a lot of it came from bitterness, which I've talked about. It's like, look, if you want to be single and you want to make your thing, Paul did that. And he said it was a great thing. So I'm not going to counter anybody's decision to be single, but don't do it
Right.
from bitterness. Any
Yeah,
decision
from a
you make from
negative
bitterness
standpoint.
doesn't serve you. Do it from a place of
Right.
conscious decision. This is what I want.
Right. Mhm.
So You're right. So you got one extreme or the other. You have one group that just ditch society, ditch women because they're not getting their needs met, and another group of guys who get really good at seducing women and trying to get out of them nurturing. They try to get this thing, and once they get them, they glab on because they have these feelings that they've never addressed, feelings of fear of abandonment, feelings of um, I want to be loved forever now. It's this thing about love me forever, please love me. You have to stay with me, and a neediness comes into that. And the
Hmm.
truth is, men, we never stop needing to earn our position.
That's true.
You earn trust and respect by making her feel safe.
Hmm.
You earn respect by doing work to,
Right.
you take care of your
Hmm.
body and to
Hmm.
provide financially.
Hmm.
Um, you you earn love by gender learning how to bring it out of her, give her those feelings, those emotions
Hmm.
of love. And all of that is not you don't relegate that. You can't short short circuit that. So there's there's a balancing line. So let me give you the other side of the argument. So on one side is like, yes, you'll always need to do the work to be the man you're supposed to be, right?
That's right.
You can't just become the video game couch potato and say, "Well, love me unconditionally."
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think that there needs to be a place of love, acceptance, compassion, and space. In the New Age movement, they call it. He gave me space to grow. There needs to be a
Yeah.
place of like love and support. If you see the person's making effort, if they've screwed up and they're hurting and they're struggling and they're trying to get to the next level, then yeah, you should pour into them support and love to encourage that behavior. But I
Yeah.
think that's a conscious choice and an effort. It's like you always, I don't care who you are, where you are, work, friends, anywhere, you always want to encourage behavior you want to see repeated, right? What
Hmm.
gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you see
Hmm.
somebody trying to grow, trying to do good, make them feel great about it so they'll do more of that. Um,
Hmm.
so it just still comes down to this thing, though. It's like if you expect to grab someone and say, "Hey, we're married now. You got to love me no matter what," and I'm just going to go eat Cheetos and binge on Netflix. Yeah, no, no, I don't give you a free pass on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. You made a very good point. You talked a lot about, like you said, it covered a lot of things. One of the things I think that hit home for me was that when you go into a relationship with certain expectations on both sides,
Hmm.
um, you know, and for instance, one of the things you brought up before is broken people tend to get with broken people, right?
Hmm.
So you have a person who has all these issues that they really aren't dealing with themselves because everybody has issues, but it's the question: are you dealing with the issues? Are you managing them, or are you just kind of throwing in the towel and saying, I am who I am, you just got to accept me? And then instead of fixing yourself, you will try to either A, get someone that's supposed to unconditionally accept you, or or B, you get someone that's just as broken as you, so they don't really understand. They don't. You both end up with the same problem. And so I think that choice in the relationship is, that expectation is where that unconditional love you make a great point that the unconditional love is, you're supposed to love them, but that doesn't mean, I guess we have to define it better, because it doesn't mean that you allow someone to stay in a negative place without trying to help them to grow.
Right.
I think we always said, like, even in friendship, if you have a friend and that friend is always like, no matter whatever lame brain idea you come up with, like, oh yeah, that's good. Go for it. You should do that. Yeah, you should definitely jump off the top of that mountain. You should definitely go bungee jumping or whatever. You know, I mean, then you may not consider that a good friend.
Hmm.
Because in the end, the best friend is going to say, hey, I love you either way. Like me and my bros used to have this saying: whatever you do, I'm going to love you. But I'm still going to tell you if what you're doing is a lame brain idea. If
It's stupid.
I
Yeah.
mean, if it's stupid, I'm going to love you enough to be able to tell you that this is stupid.
So I love this because this concept. guys, today we're just kind of giving you the buffet. You have to pick what you want because there's so
That's
many sides of this issue.
yeah.
So on one hand, this idea of I'm going to go to the positive side of unconditional love, and but the negative side is if you interpret it, if you're looking for it because you haven't healed,
Right. Right. As an
then
excuse to remain broken.
it's an excuse to remain broken, and you're being codependent. Your neediness. I
Hmm.
need you to do
Hmm.
this. I need you to feel this pain. I need you to feel this place. I need you to do this. And so I don't have these fears of abandonment. I don't have these fears of not being important, not that my needs are important. And so if I find somebody who will just love me and continue initially, it'll feel that place. It'll put the band-aid on the thing you're not healing. So there's a place where it's like if you're going into that looking for this, I want this from a place of wounding, get the wounding healed. Now, on the other side, if you have two healthy people that dive in and commit, like another Jordan Peterson example, who says, I like the idea of marriage because what it says is I am stuck with you. I'm choosing to be stuck with you. And so no matter what comes in life, we are not going anywhere. We are going to work it out because we are not going anywhere.
That's right.
We are choosing. And there was oh no, it was the um oh, what's the band from who did Back to the Future? All the songs from Back to the Future. He did that song "Happy to Be Stuck with You." Anyway, it'll
Hmm.
come to me in a minute. But
Hmm.
anyway, in the song "Happy to Be Stuck with You," it's like I'm happy to be stuck with you. So there's a part of this where, and I feel grateful because in my case, when Lon and I both felt like we were just given this huge love for each other.
Hmm.
And I will tell you, when you have that and it comes from a divine place and you feel this spiritual connection, it's a fire that doesn't go down. So whether we have
Hmm.
good days or bad days, it's that still embering, smoldering love that never goes away. And so if I were to say unconditional love, I would actually, and I'm going to get very spiritual here, reflect it back to God and say it's because he put something in there that he's not taking away. It's a gift.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a deep love that you're supposed to give to this person. And
Hmm.
and it doesn't go away.
Hmm.
And I just continually have this amazingly deep love feelings for this woman, no matter what we go through. And
Hmm.
it is not dimmed a moment in all of the, we're in our second year of relationship together. It has not changed at all, ever. And so the piece in this unconditional love is that I've been given something from the Father that it was a gift. So there were no conditions, strings attached to this gift. It wasn't because
Hmm.
I was a good boy or she was a good girl, or, maybe it's a gift because of the work I did at Dream Connections and I created something good in the world and he decided to do something nice for me. I kind of believe that too, is like, let me reward you with giving you some deep love and somebody to love you. So I kind of believe that.
Hmm.
But to me, the unconditional love is from the Father. It's like, I give this to you without literally without conditions. So if you become a bad boy, I'll take this love away from you. No. He says, my gifts are without, what's the phrase he uses? Um, Not without apology, they're without, basically, I don't take them back. They're
Hmm.
without retraction. I don't take what if
Hmm.
I give, and I don't take it back.
Hmm.
So I have this love. Now, I can squish it if I choose and focus on
Right.
different things and bury myself in anger, or bury myself in pain or other things. So I'm not paying attention to it, but I believe that this love is always there. And so for me and Lana, we make it a priority every day to, almost in a meditative way to feel the emotion again, bring it to life, feel it, hone it. And the other piece in that is if you believe spiritually that we were both given this love,
Hmm.
which in the early days of relationships is easy to do because you both feel it. You both feel this excitement. You're both like crazy for each other, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if you believe that, then also have the peace of believing that what you were given and what you feel, she feels too.
Yeah.
Because
You
otherwise
know,
you go a little crazy, but it's like, no, we both feel this. Anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say that thinking, just kind of thinking about you and Lana and the relationship that the Lord has blessed y'all with, and all the years with Dream Connections. It's interesting because I think one of the things you said a long time ago, and, I love these Markisms, but one of the things you said a long time ago is, when a man, especially when he would come on the tour, whatever the case may be, and they would get with this woman, you would say, you need to love them. You need to figure out if you can love them for who they are and not what you think they should be. So I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times people get into relationships and what they're marrying is their ideal of the person and not the
Mm-hmm.
actual real person. Now
Right.
that could be, there's a lot to be said with everybody's kind of on a certain level when they first get married, like you said, and then, you know, they grow and they mature, they don't stay the same. You have to kind of grow with them. But I think one of the hard parts with a lot, especially starting off relationships, is that people don't necessarily marry or they love this person for their own reasons, their own
Mm-hmm.
ideas of who that person is. And as that person begins to grow and change and everything like that, then they tend to kind of, well, wait a minute, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And that gets into the unconditional thing because, they have this, I married this person because, like for instance, how many guys came down to the Ukraine and got really serious about a woman because they had this idea of Ukrainian women, or this is the way they are, or I don't have to deal with this with this woman, or this, Slavic women, or whatever the case may be. And then as they get into the relationship, they're like, hey, they have bad days too, right? They have days that, they're not
Oh
happy
yeah.
either, you know?
Right. I love that. And you remind me of that teaching I used to say all the time is that because guys they'll fantasize and the women
Yeah.
do too. I mean, they'll
Yeah.
imagine it's like your first date and they're already thinking about what your wedding would be like. So, I mean, there's a little bit of that going on both sides. And
Hmm.
so when you settle into the fact that, oh, it's a flawed human and I'm a flawed human too. But I think the quicker you can decide to accept that because it's going to be true anywhere. It's true. It's
Hmm.
true at work. You get this job, you have this dream job, you go into this, oh, I can't wait to get in there. And all of a sudden you go, oh, that's the stuff they didn't tell me about in advance. Crap. This, yeah, this is,
Yeah.
you know, so I used to have this habit. It's like, if I was going to go work for a company, I would go find somebody who would be a peer, take them to lunch and say, all right, tell me the shit with the good stuff. I want to hear what it's really like to work there, and then because there's always going to be some, so, and every human being, there are going to be things. So you have to decide what's important and what's just personal adjustments. Okay, they do
Hmm.
things like this, they see things like this.
Hmm.
Are they willing to grow and change? Are you willing to grow and change?
Hmm.
And do you have a common vision for your future? But along the way, but one thing I will say, because I'm hearing in my mind some guys echoing all these different definitions of love out there, you know,
Hmm.
um, but love isn't action. It's not a feeling. And I'm going to call a little bit of bullshit on that because I could say, okay, love is I made you a peanut butter sandwich. Here, have your fucking sandwich. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
there's something where there is an element of the spirit that's got to be bright with the with with I'd say the God love energy, because anybody
Hmm.
who's done any of these plant medicines, whether it's ayahuasca, DMT, or any of these things, they go and experience to say, I experienced the other realm. Everyone comes back and said it was overwhelmingly deep with accepting love and peace. And just like I was totally accepted as I am. And so if that's the ultimate state of our being, is this euphoric state of acceptance and love. And it's like we want to bring a little bit of that down to this earth and say, how can I manifest that in my relationship, in all of my relationships, and because we have imperfection. So that brings me to a third point. Okay, so let me finish with one last thought. I want to, you know, I'm not concluding unconditional love because I think you need to chew on it for yourself. There's a part where if you're needy, if you have neediness, get healed. If you can anchor into finding that fire that's in both of you, that smoldering fire, it's kind of like the furnace, where the thermostat goes on or off. The furnace never goes off. That pilot light is always there, and then have that ability to. You have to have two people that want it, though. If you both want to
Hmm.
work together, you both want to accept each other, both want to grow together, both want to experience all those things. And I wish for that. And so to me, I've done some coaching on that. I should do more but one of the things is to get mutual agreement. Man
Mm-hmm.
casting the vision, I want to have a relationship with you that looks like this. And then she say, yes, I'm
Mm.
in.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that to say, the last piece of this equation, I think, is I lost my train of thought.
That was a great lead in, though.
It was a great lead. Well, I wanted to wrap. I wanted to put a bow
Yeah.
on that one and
Yeah.
kind of cap
Yeah.
it off
Yeah.
before I go in a new direction. I forgot what the new direction was going to be. Um, I think then if we look at, and now I remember. So if we look at these different aspects of, okay, in my brotherly relationship with you, I love you, I want to pour into this energy as brothers, whether we're chilling
Mm-hmm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
having a cigar and a
Mm-hmm.
beer,
That's
doing
right.
something or doing nothing. We just have this
That's right.
energy, right? Okay, so I
That's right.
invest in that. I want to feel that. And you feel a different kind of romantic energy with a woman, but it's the same kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. We get to that place of amazing feeling of, whether brotherly love, eros love, whatever the case may be, and acceptance. It's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
thing to be in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, because we're in a skeptical world where most people still live in the reality,
Mm-hmm.
mindset,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you
Mm-hmm.
can't be that way with everybody. People will bite
Yeah.
you in the ass, and
Yeah.
even people you think are friends will turn on you, all these kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it's like each moment I want to feel that in this moment, in this encounter, because it may change later. You'll go somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
I'll go somewhere else. You'll get your Ukrainian girlfriend, and I won't hear from you again because you're all excited. And that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, my guys, once they get their girl, I never hear from them again because they're all like, oh, good for. I mean, that was my goal.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
So if our goal is that, one of the things that's neglected, here's where I'm coming to, is you can't generate that as well among brothers, among a girl, among whoever else, if you haven't done it for yourself.
That's right.
You got to really think like, and this is where we shy away from it because we've been religiously trained to think this is poor ego. It's not poor ego. This is correct ego to say, I'm a great friend to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a cool
Absolutely.
person to hang out with.
You have to
Of all
like
the,
you.
you
You
have to
said
like
that. You said
yourself.
you have to like yourself. You one of your teachings again that I
Mhm.
love so many teachings. You have so many gold nuggets. Is that how can she love you when you don't even love you?
Right,
you know, like you go there, you meet the girl, right? And the girl
right,
and she's asking you, she's excited. She's like, "Hey,
right.
tell me, what's good
Tell me
about
about
you?"
you.
And you
Right.
and you're like, "Well, my job sucks, my life sucks, I
I
suck."
know.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I always said that if you don't love your life, don't invite somebody to join it. Misery, just loving company, does not work in relationships.
it does it. No.
And so I think that, okay, so then what does it take? It's just simple question. It just comes down to this, guys. What would it take for you to say, I love my life?
Mm,
What do you have to change or feel or believe or forgive of yourself for you to peacefully say, I love my life? I think a big piece of it
outside of
immediately.
outside of
Go
a
ahead.
woman, right? Because
Outside,
sometimes
correct. Before.
right before, because I think sometimes as men, the life it's like, hey, I would love my life if I had a woman to do this, this, and this, which is you're giving the joy in your life to someone else
Hmm.
before you find it in yourself. Because
Hmm.
she don't want that. She don't want to be. I mean, people think that women want to be the center of your universe, but in the end, they don't mostly because that's a lot of pressure, right? They
Yeah.
want you to be able to be excited about something that they can join into. Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. You think about the 10 Commandments, right? Love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. So there's
Right.
assessment: love God, love yourself, and then based on your loving yourself, you love your neighbor. And
Yeah.
so we don't have within the Christian doctrine good teaching on how to love yourself. But if you don't, even on the airlines, they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help somebody else. The soldier has to personally be trained, fit, strong, and skilled before he can protect anyone else. You have to do you first before you can do anybody else. And comes from a good sense of then when you feel like you've taken care of yourself, physically strong, you're mentally, you're challenging yourself, you're growing, you have some ambitions to advance your career, take some new learning, you know, you're taking some, you're breaking out of your comfort zone, make some new friends, and all of that becomes empowering to be able to invite somebody into that world. It's like, this world isn't, this version isn't done, but it's going somewhere. If you like where it's going, let's go for the ride. Um,
Mhm.
and so I that's been my last piece on this. Unconditional love comes from accepting you unconditionally first. Now, that one I will go along with, and here's why. Although certain actions and behaviors we might do might have consequences we don't like, fair enough. That's the way the world works.
Mhm.
But understanding the complete forgiveness we have has to start also with us because it's already existing in the spirit realm. We're already completely
Mhm.
washed clean.
Mhm.
But you have to have, and like I mentioned several times, I think already in our first 6 episodes, this radical self forgiveness.
Mhm.
And that lends itself to a purity of your spirit. It's a calmness. Because here's the problem. If you don't have that kind of radical, unconditional love for yourself that the Father has for you, then everywhere you go, you're carrying around this mask of, I hope they don't see this. I'm ashamed of this. I hope they don't find out this is true about me. I hope this is true. And it's not that you say those things, but you first have to be cleaned. So it doesn't matter. Not everything is appropriate to tell everyone. I'm not saying that. But for you, carrying shame is a nervous system cloak that people feel. And the woman feels like there's something going on. There's a reason I can't trust him. And so all of this comes down to there has to be a certain level of unconditional love for yourself. And in doing so, there's a smart love. Unconditional
Mhm.
love, means, I'm a sinner, but you know what? I like who I am. I like who God is. I like what he's doing with me. And I'll continue to screw up, but I'll continue to get better. Hallelujah. Be perfect someday on the
Yeah.
other side, right? So there's sort of that side I think is appropriate for yourself, but there's a working love, which also says, like you said, I love you as we are, but I love you too much to leave you that way. And and so,
Mhm.
you know, and so then it's like, okay, then if I want to love you for the future you. So what can we
Mhm.
do to love you that the future you will say thank you for?
Mhm.
And then that's love in action. So I think that if you get those out of order, you have a problem. If you don't forgive, love yourself, have a clean spirit, then when you go into the working love, you'll end up doing it as a way to pacify the shame, like to earn your way out of guilt, like to do something that says like, yeah, I feel like shit, but look what I did over here. And then it
Yeah.
nullifies really the joy of being able to enjoy the fruit of your labor because now you're doing it for psychological reasons. So you don't feel as guilty about imperfections in our lives. So anyway, that's my take on the topic of
You know,
unconditional. I think it,
um, you covered so many wonderful things, and I guess my final round out on that is I was thinking about me and you and how we both deal a lot. Me from the ministry side, you from the men's counseling side. Um, you deal with people. The first rule is to deal with people where they're at, to kind of take
mhm,
away the illusions of, like for instance, if you're counseling, if you're talking to a guy that's coming there that you're trying to help with men's coaching, or he's talking to a female, it doesn't matter that he's a governor, he's a mayor, he's rich, he's whatever. It doesn't matter. You have to strip away everything and get down to the who is this real person and what is it that they really need? What are they really seeking? So you could see them for who they are, not what they are, their titles, their possessions or whatever. And when you do that, it's in order to really care for them, you have to care for them in a certain amount of truth, which is I see you for who you are. I still love you, you know what I'm saying, for who you are, but I'm still going to try to help you to become better. Now, again, that there's a certain part of you. that if you haven't done that with yourself, it's really hard to do that for anybody else. To your point, if you get into a relationship and you haven't forgiven you, then it's kind of like those people in the church that everything, oh, that person smoked, and oh, that person this, and oh, I found out this person that, and it's like they're almost looking for flaws in people. Well, yeah, everybody has flaws, right? So you're gonna
Right.
see this. We're flawed people. So if you get into a relationship like that, then you're just gonna make, in a way, life miserable for the woman, or vice
Yeah.
versa for the man.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because you are literally just trying to pick out their things so that you feel better about who you are and you can be right. And that's not a real relationship, right? So even in when we do the counseling, you have to take a step back, see them for who they are, and help them address the problems so that they can be better. But you have to do it with the heart of, I want this person to be better, not
Yeah.
and that's not better in the sense of, I want you to be my expectation of better. It's,
Right.
I want you to feel better about yourself, right?
Well, especially about things you've said you want. I
Yeah,
see
exactly.
this. I see this all the time with guys says, I want to lose weight or I want to, do whatever, do this training, or I want to learn this thing. And then you see his behavior. He says, well, bro, I want to help you get to the thing you said you want to do, because this ain't getting you there, right? You said you want this, right? Okay, then
Yeah,
let's get you there.
yeah.
So I think that's good stuff. Because brothers, we love you dearly. You're sitting there,
Yes, we do.
just listening on this, and you got to realize there's so much love energy for you, and we need you to love yourself. We need you to be a magnet for the world. We need you to come on fire, and all these things, because there's so much life waiting on the other side of this neediness, this pain, this insecurity, this thing that you're trying to focus on earning something, and it's hindering you from just coming alive and enjoying the world around you every day. So with that was good. What do we say we missed out? We're going to cover next week. The power of
Uh,
brothers.
the power of fellowship between brothers. Yeah.
All right. All right. A lot of good stories coming in that. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. My brother Dane, strength and honor.
Strength and honor.
See you next week.
Last thing on my list, taking care of myself. Whose life is this? Go to work, do my job, check a box, make a friend. Do it again, do it again. Sleep and repeat, all my hours belong to someone but me. One more favor, just say yes. God, I'm stressed, give it a rest. I'm waiting for the day that I can say I can be anyone, I can be anything I want. All of this is mine. Whose life is this? When do I get to live my life? When do I get to live my life? When do I get to live my life? Whose life is this? When do I get to live my life? When I'm home from the grind, I can lay down my head, shut my eyes, I'm in bed, but instead there's a voice in my head, going again, it's never enough. On the wheel like a hamster, keeping up. On my back, in my face, do this, do that, give it a rest. I'm waiting for the day that I can say I can be anyone, I can be anything I want. All of this is mine. Whose life is this? When do I get to live my life? When do I get to live my life? When do I get to live my life? Whose life is this? When do I get to live my life? Hey! 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 When do I get to live my life? On and on, I'm running on. The more I do, the more I don't. I'm burning up, but I don't wanna lose control. Burning up, but I don't wanna lose control. On and on, I'm running on. The more I do, the more I don't. I'm burning up, but I don't wanna lose control. Burning up, but I don't wanna lose control.